Welcome to the season finale of Life Is, a proud part of the Bethel University Clarion Podcast Network. I'm co-host Zach Walker.
And I'm co-host Abby Pautz. Today, Life Is Finales. We'll talk about new hosts, ongoing finales, and having a crush on Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
We'll discuss reincarnation, owning a comforter, and becoming a farmer in Oregon.
And even though we're supposed to be talking about finales, we'll probably anticipate about other things, and maybe talk to some folks over at the award-winning Clarion Newsroom.
Because life is finales, but life is everything else too. Life is drops now.
Okay, Zach, Life is finales. So, what's the worst finale of a TV show you've ever seen? The worst.
Certain positive. The worst finale of a TV show? I'm always bad at the worst things. I don't know. I feel like a lot of TV shows, even if their final seasons suck, their finales are pretty good. That 70s show, the final season is so bad. It's terrible.
Not worth watching.
Eric leaves and some Rick guy or whatever his name is, I don't even remember his name because he sucks, comes in and it's the worst. But then the finale's awesome. It's Eric comes back and the gang gets back together.
It's always when somebody comes back. It's like in The Office, Michael's gone the last 2 seasons, right? He comes back for the finale. Everyone loves it. Who wouldn't, right? But the last 2 seasons are just okay. They're not as good.
They are just okay. They're still funny. Because The Office is a great show. But Nellie is a character and she's not engaging. And they destroy Andy, and Pam gets a lot worse.
Yes,
and
the characters really change.
Dwight's still awesome. He's kind of the one. I think he's the most consistent character in that show. But yeah, I guess I'll tell you what one of the best finales I've ever seen. Have you ever seen the show Gravity Falls?
No.
It is an animated Disney show. It's on Disney Plus. It's 2 seasons. It was written as 2 seasons. Just a tight story, and it's really good. And the finale is incredible. I watched it the other day with Mark Ives, my best friend. He's been on the podcast. And it was, we had before quarantine, watched all through Gravity Falls together. And
you were waiting for the finale.
Yeah, and then quarantine hit.
Yeah.
So we stayed apart for a long time. And then I went over the other day and we stayed 6 feet apart in his basement and watched the finale. And it was oh my gosh. It was the end of this saga that Mark and I had been on together. And the finale was really emotional and really good.
Really?
So, it's amazing. The show is incredible. I think there's a lot of animated TV out there that people write off as just being children's
Avatar:
shows.
The Last Airbender.
But that's on Netflix now. Did you see?
You're kidding.
I'm not. It was just added.
I literally have the DVDs. I love that show. I'm 90% sure that this shouldn't happen, but when I was younger, I had a crush on Aang. The cartoon character.
Wait, what do you mean you think it shouldn't happen? I
don't know. I feel it looks like a person. It's weird. Well, I know, but it's I know sinful. And knew it was a cartoon. I know he's not real. So it's an odd thing.
Right up there with relationship with attraction to animals is attraction to Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh boy. What do you think is the best life finale? Doesn't have to be super serious. I have one in mind. A moment of something coming to an end that was really awesome.
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe retiring. When I think finale in
let's talk from experience. Retirement.
Yes, for sure. When I think of finale, I think of a like a wedding or something, like something you really look forward to and you're excited about it. But I think that can coincide with a finale too. Like if you're watching something or you're participating in something, you're always a little sad it's over. Like
Yeah.
even though you're excited and you've been on this journey or whatever, like watching the show and you're excited to see everything wrap up and come full circle, hopefully, if they wrote it correctly and are good at writing and know how to wrap up something.
Mm-hmm.
I think after a wedding you're almost sad. It's like what event do I have to look forward to now? Like other people's weddings? That sounds
Yeah.
lame. That is lame.
Only weddings. That's the only event that can bring humans joy.
What do you think?
I have a few. A really, really positive one. There is nothing. We will never achieve the level of euphoria found in the last day of an elementary school year. It was the greatest. We remember you'd do crafts and stuff for the last day, and you'd
the best.
give your books in, pack up your desks, and your parent. You'd either ride the bus home, or if your parents were cool like mine, they'd pick you up.
Same.
And then you'd go out to get ice cream or something, and then you just have the summer to hang out.
Yeah. Why aren't pool parties after school's out a thing anymore? Because that's what we did. Everyone in our school, literally, our whole 6th grade class, or at least most of them, we'd all go over to somebody's house who had a pool, and we'd swim. We'd play Titanic. We'd play the game where you drop the little tee, the golf tee, which I think is dangerous. I was usually on the side for that. I was worried about diving in and hitting my head on somebody else's head. Have you ever played that game?
I have a couple of questions. One, you can't say that you think any game is dangerous when you endorsed metal lawn darts last episode.
Okay.
Also, what is the tee game?
Okay, so it's a golf tee. The thing you put in the ground and set the ball on.
Yes, thank you. The explanation.
Okay. Well, just for anyone out there who wants to visualize.
Anyone out here's never.
I think it might have to be the color white too. I know there's colored ones. I think you have to have a white one to play the game. And you drop it in. Somebody on the diving board or something drops it in, and there's kids on one side of the pool and kids on the other, all lined up and standing outside of the pool, and you dive in.
And then you take bets on which kid army is gonna win.
No. So it's an individual game. It's not teams, but you dive in, and whoever goes to the bottom and gets the tee wins and gets to drop it in the next time. So it's not like you're winning anything exciting, but doesn't that sound dangerous? A bunch of kids just going towards one thing in water.
Yeah.
And diving.
There's probably a lot of wrestling, a lot of drowning scares.
Yes, I know.
Other fun finales. Every time I would end my final show in high school theater, that was always a really bittersweet moment, because it was always we always just absolutely gave it our all, and it was the best show, and we had
all the work you put in.
I always had a routine at the beginning of every theater production. I've done a ton of theater productions in high school. I did 10 or 12 or something like that. And my buddy Colton and I were in almost every one together. And we do the shadow boxing thing. We'd put our hands up to each other, and then we'd punch. And then the final one was this big uppercut. And we'd do that both before a show. And then I'd always go out in the hallway and pace a couple times just by myself and breathe and stuff. And my final show in high school was Willy Wonka, and I played Willy Wonka, and I started the show spotlit in the middle of the stage, and the curtains opened, and it was just me, and that was a big the final opening to this thing that I've been doing since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And now that was coming to an end, and it's always oh man, yeah, the show's done, so I have my nights back again. But,
yep.
And I didn't really think back then that that was kind of the end of my intense theater experience, because I got into college. I've done 2 shows at Bethel, but I got really into journalism and really into writing. And I kind of like put all my effort in that. And I had to kind of sign something off. And theater was like kind of the thing to go because it's such a time commitment.
Yeah.
But that was a big one.
And I think not being in theater, but I love theater.
Yeah.
You can see that, like, if you go to a final show, you can just see it. And they're so excited and proud of everything they've done, but you can just see they're upset that, like, they won't get to do that for a while. Like, all these long days and nights where they've been just putting so much work in, and now it's just done. It's kinda like school being out, like we talked about with, Will later in the segment, sorry. Um, you feel like there's still something to do because 'cause you've done this huge project, and now you're just done on one night.
Yeah.
It's just over, and it's
Yeah.
sad.
It is. It was sad. I mean, I remember we'd always have like a cast party and stuff,
Yep.
but the cast party was always like we just watched the show in the auditorium.
Oh, really?
Which is like pretty cool. But
Yeah.
a lot of times we wanted, like, in my last couple of years in high school, a bunch of my friends and I wanted to just go in the band room and play werewolf for the cast party, which is Mafia but cooler. And like, our director didn't want us to do that, which, I mean, I understand. And Laura listens to this podcast. So, hey, Laura, if you're out there, why didn't you let us play werewolf? But I guess she wanted us to see the show, and it was great. But yeah, I remember, like, we went into the costume room at the end and everybody cheered and like hugged each other. And it was this big drama kid crying sesh and all that. But yeah, that was a good time. Okay, next up, we have Bethel Associate Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Deb Sullivan Trainer. That is the longest title I've ever had to say on this podcast. Deb, thanks for coming on.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Glad to be here, and great job with the title, Zach.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about what life has been like for you the past couple of months, being that this is your final year at Bethel, correct?
Yes, that's right. I'm retiring at the end. I retire from being associate provost at the end of the month, and then continue working a little bit to help with the transition.
Okay.
So I can't say this last semester was exactly what I pictured it would be. A combination of, in addition to when I was down here meaning Arizona, because I am now living down here. When I was visiting my husband over Valentine's weekend, I had a stroke and ended up in the hospital for 3 days. So that took a chunk out of February and kind of turned things upside down for a while. And then I was back for all of a week and a half before spring break, and came down here for spring break and haven't come back. Not that I'm complaining about being down here in Arizona, but those 2 events just in themselves have really changed things. So I would say these last, especially kind of with the COVID stuff, it has just been a full press all day long marathon sprint, a combination of the 2, to figure out what decisions we need to make, and then to figure out both how to decide about that, and then what the ramifications are, and then communicating. So and of course, I don't really complain about this, but we have a 2-hour time difference. So when the COVID-19 meeting roots at 8:00 every morning, it's 6:00 for me. So,
Sure.
But so that's how I start most of my days, is with the big COVID-19 emergency response team, that we have a whole group of people on from all different areas of the university. And so we're all bringing our areas, conversations about our areas, to that meeting, and then thinking together, and then going back and doing our own work and bringing things together. So it's been kind of a series of decisions everywhere from, we're going to extend spring break, to, we're going to go online till Easter, to, we're going online to the end of the year. And so each set of those has, a number of decisions and processes. And then I've been working very hard to try to communicate consistently and clearly with faculty. So I think probably for the first 5 weeks, every night I would send an update to faculty and just say, okay, this is what we know. These are what decisions are being made. So like with the pass-fail decision, getting that communicated to faculty so that they would know before students knew, so they could think about how what they might do with their classes, or just not to be surprised by it. And just a whole number. I mean, I would say that I probably ended up starting out with 3 or 4 subjects for an email every night, just to give the faculty update there. I think I'm down to like 2 or 3 a week now, so it kind of feels luxurious not to be doing that every night. So, because I think, one of my goals as associate provost is in some ways to be invisible. That my job, I feel like, is to keep academics running, both in terms of supporting faculty and curriculum and doing things for student support. And if I'm doing my job well, I feel like students don't know that we exist. So trying to do that, and then trying to support faculty, because they were certainly exceptionally busy this spring converting all of their courses to online. So I wanted to kind of reduce what we call the structural stress of the rest of their life, where they have the information they need about the rest of their academic and Bethel life.
Yeah. So you mentioned a lot of the decision-making process of making all these decisions about COVID and everything that happened this past semester. And I remember like when I read those emails about all those decisions, and I was like sitting with all my friends, we were just kind of waiting. And then like a decision popped up. I'd love to know just a little bit more of like what that process looked like with you and that team having to make all of those decisions when there was so much pressure on you from the university and from, the virus and all of that. So tell us a little bit about that process.
I would say with the SU, the kind of the pass-fail decision, that's maybe the best example, where kind of people would bring to the conversation what they were seeing and reading about what other schools were doing. Liz Miller, who's the director of health services, she's super plugged into the Minnesota Department of Health and is on their conference calls. So we would kind of all hear things. And so once there were a number of schools that were going with pass fail, so I brought that to the larger group and said, hey, this is what we're thinking about. And then that actually, the larger group didn't make the decision. We were just kind of giving them a heads up about it. And there was a subgroup of that, which was Randy Bergen, who's the associate provost in CAPS MGS, myself, and Deb Harless, the provost. So we talked through, what do we want to do with that? Should we be doing it? When do we want to do it? And when I would be in meetings with faculty, I would also, I'm sure I must have asked Sam about it several times. I would say, okay, this is what we're thinking about. What does this feel like from a faculty side? What should we be considering? And then I actually spent a lot of time with the registrar, Diane Kruzmark, because that's an academic policy that has to be academic affairs through academic policy makes decisions, and then the registrar implements decisions. So they were the ones that needed to implement the pass-fail process. So she and I kind of work together on crafting the actual communication, developing the WUFU form that students used, and then working together on what went in the catalog. In the electronic version of the catalog, we put an update for that. So usually it's kind of like a lot of other decisions, is you make sure the right people are involved in the conversations, and then kind of keep going back and then sending it to someone who hasn't read what who's not been involved in the process, and saying, is this going to read the way we mean it to? Is it clear? Is it going to be clear to students? Those sorts of things. And then I would take it to the other academic deans. There's a group of us. We have Barrett Fisher, Dean of Academic Programs. I'm sorry, not yet. Next year, he'll be Dean of Academic Programs. Dean of Arts and Humanities, Julie Finnern, Professional Programs, Diane Dahl, Nursing, and Carol Young, National Behavioral Sciences. And we meet once a week. And so things that were academically related, I would bring to them as well and say, okay, what do you guys think about it? What do you talk to the department chairs that you're working with, so that we're bringing all the information together.
Yeah. So through all of these huge decisions, and especially I think of you had a large role in trying to figure out the faculty cuts this year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So with those decisions that I mean, they're dealing with a lot of real people, and they're affecting a lot of real people, and when the university is cutting a lot of full-time faculty, and you're making all these decisions, talk to me about the personal toll that takes. How do you deal with that as an administrator, and also just like as a human and a friend to these people that the decisions are affecting?
Yeah. Well, I deal with it, one, by having tears come to my eyes right now, is that, all of those people that you talk about and then make recommendations about, that those are their lives. And I'm good friends with some of them. And that's super hard to say, okay, this is what I'm called to in my work. I need to make the best decisions I can for the university, and, pray for all of those individuals. And it's hard. And I would say one of the things I do is, at the end of the day, I sit in my study and stare at Google Hangout all day long. But at the end of the day, I take out my earphones and I leave this room, and I don't come back in here until the next morning. I'll usually actually take my laptop into the living room and be working on those updates, but I have to have clear, not processing time. And I've always, I shouldn't say always, I guess probably when I became associate provost 5 years ago, I decided to do an email Sabbath. So from Friday night, kind of dinner, until right after church on Sunday, I pretty much don't look at my email. And that's a lifesaver for me, because there's, sometimes an email traffic definitely goes down on the weekend, but just having a break from, here's something that's going to come up that's hard, that's challenging. Most of it can wait until Sunday afternoon anyway. So that's been a really big survival mechanism for me, is having clear breaks from things.
That's really awesome. That's really cool. You seem throughout this whole interview, I mean, you've mentioned a lot of really tough stuff. You've mentioned having to deal with these faculty cuts. You mentioned having a stroke and having your last semester of your job be pretty stressful. How have you stayed decently positive through it? Like, who have been some motivators, and just how have you worked through it and not? Yeah.
I would say I'm by nature a positive person, and just not been a worry. I just think that's how God made me, and I'm very grateful for that. It's like, okay, here's the issue. I'm going to process it. I'm going to do what I can do about it. But I think I'm blessed to be able to put things aside. Deb Harless, the provost, and she and I are both good friends, and my boss, and so she and I process through things a lot together. She's the one who took the recommendations about the positions to cabinet. So when there are questions about them, she and I process through them. So we both have a chance to work through difficult things together, and then also do silly things like play with my little squirrel puppet every once in a while. So we have that casual relationship where she knows the difficulty of it, but I can process things as a friend, is really helpful.
Yeah. I have to ask what the squirrel puppet is.
Squirrel puppet. Okay. Of course, this is a podcast, so you can't see the squirrel puppet, but
this is being recorded, and we do publish video versions, so people can't see the squirrel puppet.
Okay. So this is the squirrel puppet. Hi, my name is Scrabble. So I'm a little shy. So the long story is, Deb Harless and I went to Washington, D.C. just kind of on a lark a couple years ago. And we went to the Natural History Museum, and I really love animal puppets. So I bought an animal puppet. I bought a squirrel whose name was Churchill. And he has sat up on my desk in my office he made an appearance at the study day brunch. one year. And then I lost him, or I say he ran away in January. Deb and I were going out for dinner for her birthday, and I think I dropped him. I brought him he was sitting on the table at Byerly, and I brought him out to the car, and I must have dropped him. So I just imagine that some grandparent or child has picked up Churchill, and he has a good home. And then Carol Young, the Dean of Natural Behavioral Sciences, knew how much I was enjoying Churchill and that Churchill had run away. So she found this online somewhere and sent me, who's now called Scrabble. Hi, I'm Scrabble. And named him Scrabble because he runs across the top of his real life buddies run across the top of the area where she works all the time, kind of scrabbling back and forth, the little squirrels. Yeah. So that's Scrabble.
Well, we're happy to have.
This is the other thing that keeps me sane.
Have Scrabble on the podcast. Incredible. Thank you so much for showing us Scrabble.
Thank you. That's awesome.
I'm gonna go now. Bye.
Okay. Bye, Scrabble. Ooh. Just a final question here. For this being your final semester, for this being your retirement, you're done with your job at Bethel. What emotions do you have around retirement right now? Are you sad to leave? Are you thankful that you can get away from all the craziness at the university, or what's going through your head?
Sad to leave people. Like, I can't believe that I'm not going to be on Google Hangouts with Sam and 3 meetings a week with him. So yeah, I mean, it's people always say that it's the people, but it really is the people. I feel like I've really enjoyed working with faculty and that we've done work together to move things forward. Like Sam and I have been highly involved in our Moving the Needle retention project. And advising. And so there's just things that I'm glad I can leave feeling they were done well, but also just missing the people that I've spent lots and lots of time with and joked with and had fun with and all of those things. But I also felt like I was kind of called to a new phase. So I'm doing consulting with a higher education firm. And so, in fact, I talked with them this week. Actually, they emailed and said, hey, we've got a project we'd like you to work on. Can you do that starting in June? So it's felt like I can take what I've learned at Bethel and done at Bethel and take that experience and bring that to other colleges and help them with some of the processes that they're working on. So sad for the people, excited to not be doing Minnesota winters anymore. And glad to be able to stay connected with higher ed and not like I'm going to wake up one day and it's like, oh, okay, now what do I do with myself? Which I'm sure everybody who retires has some of those moments, and I'm sure that will come at some time. But I like the transition to something a little bit less full press all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Deb, for coming on. It was really great talking to you.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, I like your minion back there.
Thank you very much. I also do. Gosh, look at this.
Excellent.
Gosh, go Minions.
So we need to get Scrabble and Minions together somehow.
That's the dream. That's the dream. Yeah. This segment could not have ended on a better note. Thank you, Deb, so much for coming on.
Okay.
All right. I have a this needs to stop.
Okay.
And
back to your roots of being negative. The last couple ones you did, this needs to start.
Yeah.
You were trying to make yourself into a new person, but now you're
trying to be lighthearted and
you're accepting your fate.
Positive. Yep. So this is something I'm quite passionate about, actually, which I think all viewers will think it's super dumb until they actually listen to me and do it. And then their life will be changed. I'm not kidding.
What an argument for like any opinion. Everybody will think it's dumb unless they like listen to what I have to say.
No, they'll think it's like, oh my gosh, I don't need to do that. That seems silly, but it's the best thing ever.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, so you know what, this needs to stop. It's comforters. As in, like, the bedspread.
Like bed covers?
Yep, a comforter.
Okay.
Do you have a comforter?
Stop. I do have a comforter on my bed, yeah.
Okay, so you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
Everyone needs to get a duvet cover and a duvet insert. And that sounds like
Abby, you never fail to age yourself by at least 10 more years. You are at like 95.
I think comforters are older.
You just said the word duvet twice in 5 seconds.
Things.
Nobody under the age of 80 ever says that word, ever.
Okay, let me explain to the viewers what a duvet.
Yeah, please explain to the viewer. Do you have to take your medication before you explain? Are you sure you won't run out of breath or like break a hip?
So a duvet so there's duvet cover and duvet insert. So the insert is like this puffy thing that's super soft. It's better than what's in a comforter. A comforter, I think, is like just like cotton balls. That's how I picture the inside of a comforter.
Comforters are pretty whack. They don't really give any warmth.
Okay, perfect. Love it. Oh, so you like warmth. Okay, so that's the other thing with duvet inserts. You can do like different, like, I don't want to say insulation because it's like it's insulating your body almost. You can do like lightweight or heavy. No.
Wall insulation.
You can buy like how warm it's gonna keep you and stuff, which I think is cool. And then a duvet cover is like almost like a top sheet, but like it's like a little insert. It's almost like a sleeping bag for your duvet cover, and it'll have buttons or ties on the end, so your duvet insert is all ready to go.
So what this is I looked it up, and I think I'm just gonna ask
you got it.
Make sure. The duvet cover is just like a big bag, pretty much. It's like a big bag made of sheets.
Kind of.
The duvet insert is like the soft, thick thing that you like put inside the bag.
Yep, that you
and then it becomes this like big, thick blanket boy, right?
I wouldn't say blanket. It's like a fluffy big thing. Like if you put a comforter is like just I literally hate comforters. Like the whole I literally picture cotton balls just in there and it gives me the shivers. I hate it. And duvets are like a fluffy thing and you lay on them and they're like super soft and everybody needs to get one. I have 2 duvets on my bed at my cabin. I have one and then I have one on the end because then if I'm just like gonna sleep in the basement or if I'm gonna hang out and watch a movie, I will bring that duvet because every other blanket is not as good as having a fluffy duvet. It like doubles as like sheets, a pillow, like it just feels good.
It's everything.
You need one. I'm telling you.
Are they they look expensive?
Oh no, you can find good ones that are cheaper.
So one's $50 at Kohl's. I guess that's fine, but still.
I feel like that's a comforter. Okay, so and then the best thing is you have to like put the whole comforter in the washer, right? And that can be expensive.
I have literally never once washed my comforter.
So that's the other issue that scares me a little bit is people don't wash their comforters. And that's so concerning to me. If I go like over to a house and they show me where I'm going to stay, they give me a room that has a comforter, I go, that's never been washed. Think of all the bodies that have been in here. Sweaty bodies.
Well, I don't know. If you got sheets, they're kind of blocking like whatever bodily scents and fluids might get on the comforter.
Okay, but for the duvet cover, all you do is take out the duvet insert and wash it with your sheets. It's awesome. It's awesome. I started dating my boyfriend senior year. He came up to
high school?
Yes, sorry. Senior year of high school.
And you're still dating him?
Yes. He came up to Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's lucky.
Is it because of your mutual love of duvet covers?
No. But he
is he also, can I guess is he also like an elderly man? Like, does he like eat salted peanuts and like throw the shells on the carpet and
No.
like wear like Velcro shoes and like read the paper at a like alarmingly low angle?
No. But yeah, he does read a lot of articles, sports articles. He only wears free t-shirts, like free cotton t-shirts that were thrown into the crowd. Like that's what he wears.
What?
Do you know what I mean?
He only wears like t-shirts that TC fires out of a cannon at Twins games?
Well, that's what all of they like only look like that.
Okay.
Like no,
he's not like an absolute expert at like being in the right spot to be.
No, that's just me joking around, but that's literally his wardrobe is a pair of shorts and whatever random t-shirt he has that day. And we are older. We play cards every single night.
He sounds old.
Yeah. But we're the same age. We're both
old man.
In our 20s.
Well, I guess that's like literally your age, but
mentally we're 80.
Do you bicker like an old couple?
No, I don't think so.
You don't?
No.
You'll get there.
Thank you.
Let me know when you get there.
Next 2 months.
And then because then you've reached your potential.
Thank you.
You reached your final form.
So he had a comforter and then came to my cabin the summer before we both went to college and stayed at my cabin, and my mom like made a bed for him and we have duvets on everything, and he was like, what is this? Like, I slept unbelievably well, like this is awesome. I was like, it's a duvet, everyone needs it, I'm telling you guys, you have to get it. I know a good bed. Like, I think that I get really good sleep. I go to bed right when I get in bed. I'm never on my phone. I don't really watch TV. And I get up.
You don't do all those teen
like,
things.
No,
you don't do all those young people things.
I don't do those things. The Twitter.
You get into bed. You take your vitamins.
Yes, I do.
You take your dentures out. You put them in the solution.
You are so close because I put my retainer in. And I do take my vitamins before bed.
Yeah, of course. You got it. I do the exact same thing. I take a load of vitamins, man.
You do?
Oh, I do. My parents are big vitamin people. Yeah. I probably take 10 vitamins every night. I have a load.
I'm probably close to that.
And I've gotten pretty good at taking them. I can do it in like 2 or 3 swallows. I haven't reached my dad's level of like down and no, these are real deal. These are the real deal. These are like capsules, tablets.
Oh,
they're like
you need to take gummies.
They're real supplements. I need to get gummies. That's the thing.
Well, just easier. Who likes swallowing pills? I hate it.
They're better. I mean, they're like more effective supplements and better.
I know, but
you're eating 10 gummies a night?
Oh no. They're not all gummies. But my like daily ones are gummies, like just regular, like multivitamin, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a gummy. I take an iron pill because I'm vegetarian. So I have to take iron supplements, and B12 supplements that aren't gummies, which is unfortunate, but I'm fine. So
you can do it.
I can.
You can do it. Well, so everybody, I guess, go out and get a duvet. That's how we'll end the season. All right. Will Jaycott is back. He's been here a while. He just hangs around, demands that he's back on the podcast. Will, thanks for coming in again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for caving to my demands.
Of course. Anytime. We're talking finales and all sorts of finales. Tell us what do you think is the best way to like end a day? Or if you remember like a really good memory of just like a really nice ending to a day. What comes into your head? I know, I was going to ask about like television or movies. We've probably already talked about that by this segment.
Yeah. No, I think, I I don't know. Like the best way I've ever ended a day was me and my roommates strung up a hammock off of our deck. And so it was like suspended like over like kind of like a forest. And I don't know. I just like I had a tough day at work, I think, and I came home and I just like kind of read a book, like hanging in the hammock, and I don't know, it was just nice. It was just that, like, I remember that one for some reason sticking out to me as being a good end of the day.
So
I think there's lots of ways to end a day and have it be like good. Like
no, it's actually only one way. It's only the hammock and reading. Every other way is bad.
And kind of reading a book.
And runes.
I say kind of.
Yeah. I kind of just read a book.
You know, that happens all the time.
Like
when you think you're going to read and you have the book open.
You make like,
but you're not getting distracted.
Yeah, you're not doing anything else. You're just like looking at it.
Yep.
Or also reading through, and I'm still kind of shocked that at this age, like we allow ourselves to do this, like reading full pages or like 2 or 3 pages and getting to the end and realizing that you were thinking about something else completely that whole time.
Why does that happen?
But you were cognitively like processing the words of the book.
Yeah.
And you were doing these 2 things. Like what? How do we let ourselves do that? It's wild.
Well, I don't do that, so.
Oh.
Yeah, you're perfect.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
You read 2 books a week.
I do.
Like or like all those business people. Also, I don't believe any of those guys. Right?
Like Bill Gates and stuff.
Like, yeah, all those business guys who are just like, I read 8 books a week, and that's how they were probably hired by like the Scholastic Book Fair so that they can sell books to children. Right?
Maybe they listen to 8 books a week.
Yeah, that seems more accurate.
I bet that's
but that they say, oh yeah, I read 8 books a week.
I read 8 books. Like you don't.
No.
You're cheapening You're cheapening what it takes to read a book.
Well,
yes.
Not saying audiobooks are bad.
Through it though.
No, audiobooks are the best sometimes. Like if you're going to be in the car for a while.
No, they're not.
Wait, you don't just listen to Life Is on a loop whenever you're in the car?
Not always.
So
I know.
Unbelievable. You're fired.
Zach, I know you don't listen.
I do not. I have never once, I'm going to admit, I've never once listened to a Life Is episode full, all the way through. I just kind of trust that we did a good job.
I do too. Well, when we're doing it, it feels good. So then I don't want to listen to it and be like, oh, maybe it wasn't as good.
Yeah. Do you listen to Life Is on a Loop, Will?
Yeah, I actually go to bed with your voice.
Good. No. Wait, Life Is or the special recording that I
just
made
the one for you or the one you
Okay. Yeah. Abby doesn't need to know about that. Go ahead, Abby.
Oh.
No,
okay.
you rudely interrupted me.
Okay. Sorry. Will, are you happy with the stage of life you're in? Like, are you happy with what's going on? Yes, just tell us generally.
What a giant question.
I know.
What's going on inside your head right now?
Abby, man. Are you saying am I happy with like how my life is going?
No, like being in quarantine, like everything that's going on. Like, what do you think about this stage of life we're in coming to an end? Like we were in this like quarantined life. And
give us your therapist number.
So am I happy with the quarantine?
This stage of life that you're in? Because I feel like quarantine has created a new stage of life for everybody.
For sure.
You know, like we can remember when this started and life was different before this. So not that like the pandemic is ending, but like school is coming to an end, quarantine is lifting up. Yep. Like What are your emotions around that?
That's another good question. I mean, frankly, the whole quarantine thing was like kind of fine. Like, I don't know. Like, the online school was worse for me than just kind of hanging out at home. Because I'm still with my roommates, so it was just kind of one long like play date. Like, we were just kind of like
nice
hanging out the whole time. So like, I don't know, that wasn't that bad, and I think I'll maybe even be a little nostalgic for it at some point. But I don't know. I think with like restrictions lifting and everything, I'm kind of excited to get back out and like frisbee golf and stuff that I guess we like could have done during quarantine. But I don't know. It was good. I spent time and painted, and I did actually read a few books, which I haven't done in a long time. So I don't know. It was good. It was a good experience for me. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys felt, because I know for me, like yesterday I finished my last thing for school. And I still have like Clarion stuff and a bunch of like weird financial things to figure out. But I finished my last thing in school and I was expecting to just like feel this like wave of relief. Like, oh my gosh, I did it. Like I finished my least favorite semester of school that I've ever taken. Not that like my classes were bad, but just I don't like online school.
Yeah, it sucks.
And I finished it and I just like didn't feel anything. And I just like kind of got anxious again. And I'm like, oh, I have like other things to do. And I like didn't know why I was like feeling stressed and anxious. And it was really frustrating. But have you guys experienced that? Like you think that you should like be relieved for something, and then for some reason you aren't?
This happens to me all the time. Every summer, like at the beginning of the summer, I don't think I'm done with school. Like I'm excited for Memorial Day weekend because that's usually when we end. I'm excited to go to the cabin and hang out. But like I
50 to 70 people.
Yes, with 50 to 70 people. But the whole time will feel like I need to be doing something. Like I'll check my email, I'll make sure I turned everything in. Like it's just me in my head saying like, oh, you didn't turn that in. You for sure didn't turn that in.
Yeah, like I don't trust myself. Like I'm definitely forgetting something, and it's freaky. But
you can't relax until like a week or two after like you're actually done.
I mean, and still then, like I feel like the only
then you're just
time,
anxious about the next semester.
Yeah, and the only time that I've found that I can like truly like relax and focus on something that's going on is if I like go on a trip. If I go on a road trip or something and I'm like hiking all day or something like that.
Yeah, like
and
you don't
it's
see
like
your phone.
Impossible to do anything else. Like then I can clear my head. But like it's frustrating for me. Like I want to change it. That I get done with a semester and then I'm just like, oh, I have all this time. I should like write a novel. And if I'm not writing a novel, I'm failing. Like, what? Why are we wired like that? You know?
I'd love to know.
Yeah, I think we're so focused on progress and like success, and we're told from I think like a young age that you just have to like achieve to get ahead.
Have you guys seen on Instagram, like, I don't know, just in general, like, I've seen a ton of posts about, like, Shakespeare, used his quarantine to write, like, King Lear, and, like, Isaac Newton discovered his theory of gravity during his quarantine. And it's like, you guys got to do, like, good stuff, like, make it count. And it's like, I just kind of want to, like, watch TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it seriously builds anxiety for me, at least.
Yeah. Is it healthy to compare ourselves to Isaac Newton and Shakespeare right now? That's, I mean,
okay, but then does that make us like lazy?
That's what I don't
feel think
like.
so. Yeah,
because then it makes me think like, oh my gosh, like I'm being lazy if I want to just like start a new show and hang out and play cards. Like I don't want to do anything progressive except win 1,000 hands of games, like card games.
If I don't win 1,000 hands, I'll be mad and I'll hate everybody.
I literally do that.
I need the win.
Like, if I'm not doing something insanely progressive and like beneficial for the world, am I lazy? That's what I tell myself.
Me too. And it sucks. It sucks so hard.
But then I still can't read a book.
Period. I'm illiterate.
Without thinking of other things. Like, I can't even accomplish reading a page without like getting distracted once.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't get it.
I resonate with all of this. I resonate with all of this. Because why can't we just be happy when we're doing stuff that we like and even like work and stuff that we have to do? And then why can't we just be happy to rest and like take that time? I think that's the hardest thing. I think finding like to effectively rest is harder for me than to effectively like do my work. Same. Sometimes it like, and this just seems sinister and like, why do I work like this? Sometimes it's like it makes me feel better to like do a job or do an assignment that I hate, but I can get it done rather than like taking time for myself.
I think that's okay though. I know what you mean. I don't know. It feels really good to accomplish things. And so once you accomplish something, then I think that's when you need to take like 30 minutes just for you to do whatever you want.
Yeah. And
then go back to things you hate.
Yeah. But also once you finish all the like stuff that you have to do and then you have this time, I think a lot of people still process it as like time that I could be productive. And now I can do something that I'm like really passionate about. So I could like go out and report a long form story and send it to the New York Times. Like I could do that, where I just want to like sit and play Will in Clash Royale. Like that's what I want to do. And then that seems not productive.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
No, that's super productive.
Okay, so this is what's really scary to me is I'm literally just sitting here thinking about how we're not going to change it. Like my whole life, I'm going to do this, and it's freaking me out.
I don't know how do you change it?
In work too. Like work is all the time. Like we don't have summers off. I know.
I hate the way America functions.
Maybe it'll change.
Hopefully, I hope it's just like we have a lot of money. Good, sure. We have a lot of money that we use to bomb other countries so we can get their oil. Like, and then all of our people are stressed out all the time because if we stop working, then we can't get the oil. And like these other countries, it is. Donald Trump literally tweeted this. I can't remember when, but he literally tweeted, "We have secured the oil and we're bringing our boys home." Just proving that like a lot of military action is just for like stealing countries' oil. But I won't get into that right now.
Oh my goodness.
Other countries are cool and like they like have siesta and they just like fish around and just like chill sometimes. And America's like, I have to get my Roth IRA loaded up so I can retire and send my kids to school. And I don't know. Ooh. Well, this yeah, wow. This got heated for
kind of sad too.
For my final episode for a long time. Which brings us, I guess, to the end of this segment, which is, I guess, Abby, do you want to announce the big news?
Yes, I can.
Well, I want no.
My new co-host is going to be Scrabble the Squirrel.
I was gonna say the same thing. Awesome.
Wow.
I just ordered him off Amazon, and he will be here within the next 2 to 3 days.
He's gonna be so good. Will, don't you think?
Unreal.
She was like good at it too. She was good at doing like I would have to practice, I think, a little bit with Scrabble.
Yeah. All right, end of segment.
Perfect.
So I was kidding. Will be joining me in the summer and in the fall with more Life Is, more excitement. We will miss Zach.
Well,
well, maybe.
No,
we'll see what the
I will
listeners
miss Zach.
no, we'll miss Zach.
Yes, but it'll be a really fun time with Will, and I think it's going to be awesome and different, and that's exciting.
It's gonna be great.
So
I am excited
get ready
to tune in every week.
Are you gonna listen to
see what's going on? Listen to
every
what?
weekend.
Thing?
Listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole Life.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, because I'm not on there. Listening to like an hour of me talking would be kind of weird. And just so our listeners can stop crying and thinking that I just like hate the podcast or something, I'm going for 6 months. I'm living in the woods in like rural Oregon, and I am doing this writing program. So I'm moving out there in a couple of weeks, and I'm like gardening for 2 months, and then I'm starting the program. And I will be like I'll be like literally off the grid for the weeks, and then like the weekends I can check my phone and stuff. So hopefully I can listen to a Life Is episode. But yeah, that's where I'll be. I'll be doing lumberjack backpacking things.
Lumberjack.
Do you want to give your address or like PO box so the fans can still send you fan mail and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Can you tell, and Abby, can you guys just explain who Will is for maybe listeners that don't know who he is and how we picked him?
Talk about yourself.
I kind of want to see if Abby knows who I am.
I don't know Will that well. Will is cool for sure. I think of you as cool. You have a cool background, graphic designer, head graphic designer, right?
Sometimes
of the Clarion.
Big time graphic designer.
Yes. Really good, really talented. How old are you?
What's your favorite color?
No, I know you're graduating next
in December,
right? Yes. Yeah. So, but I don't know how old you are.
So I'm 32 actually.
This is fun.
No, I'm 22.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you will have a lot of wisdom to bring then, since I am only 21.
We should have gotten like an 80-year-old to be the co-host. Actually, Will was our second choice behind my grandfather.
Third, and Scrabble.
Third.
Yeah, and Scrabble, of course. Yeah. Will, I mean, he's been on the podcast. He's going to bring a different energy. It's going to be cool. He's going to think deep and ask good questions and talk about Scrabble and cry over not being able to see me. So yeah, it's going to be a blast. I'm going to be back next spring, and Life Is Better. I have 20,000 listeners. Yes. I'm not coming back. 15097 Highway 66, Ashland, Oregon, 97520 is my address. Send me mail. Send me money so I can pay. Well, Will, thanks for coming on. And this was actually your audition.
Oh, good.
And you got the job.
Yep.
Nice. I'll take it.
Last one ever.
Just until next year. It's fine.
Segment. Not if I become one with the forest.
Okay.
When I go to Oregon. just absorb. I just disintegrate.
You just become a tree.
Yeah. No, I become one with everything. Imagine being reincarnated as a tree.
That could be fun.
Think that'd be all right?
I think that my aunt's atheist, and I think she thinks that's what's going to happen to her.
That she's going to get reincarnated as a tree?
No, that she's just going to like go into the ground and produce stuff for future like people. Like she thinks that her body's meant to, I don't know. I believe in Jesus in heaven, so I don't always listen.
Huh, I think that's pretty.
She married it.
That's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thought.
Yeah,
I don't believe in reincarnation, but I think the thought of like everything is connected and like with the loss of life, there's like a renewal.
Yep.
And something happens. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I think there's worse things to be reincarnated.
Oh, for sure. Or like worse things to think too, but
what's the worst thing to be reincarnated as?
A fly. Any type of bug.
Why?
I don't know. Any type of bug.
Why? Why don't you like bugs? You can fly around and spy on people.
I love all animals. So don't get that wrong. I just feel like if you're going to be reincarnated to a bug, you better get ready because like you're going to die quick and get ready for your next reincarnation.
Yeah.
Right? Like true. It's just like a quick short thing. I think I would maybe want to be reincarnated as Scrabble, the real squirrel.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd want to be like a real life Grimace.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes.
Can you just be reincarnated as an animal? Or like what if you get stuck as a plant? And like you're in a flower shop for however long, just sitting. Kind of sad.
In a flower shop. That was a very consumerist outlook on reincarnation.
You're right.
And if you were a plant, you'd be in a flower shop. That's the only place that plants exist.
No, I was just thinking of like any human interaction then. Like you don't want to be a plant without like seeing what it's like looking at humanity, right? Like if you're a human, you want to be reincarnated so you're able to see humanity. I think I would. I think it would be weird and interesting.
Well, do you think for people who believe in reincarnation, do they believe that like you keep your consciousness and you like keep your memories?
That's
or
true.
are you just like do you just like become a plant and then all you know is like you're a plant now?
In this movie, I think it's about a dog named Fluke. This guy gets in like a car accident and he's reincarnated to a dog and he can remember things.
That movie sounds horrible.
It was at my grandparents' house. It was like one of the only movies they had.
Fluke?
And it was good. Fluke.
Is it? There it is.
And
it's
they
from
had
1990. They had what?
Jungle to Jungle with Tim Allen. I bet nobody's heard of it.
Anything with Tim Allen is a banger, especially Fred Claus.
This one's so good. That's like the two movies they had.
Fred Claus was with Vince Vaughn. What am I talking about? I'm so sorry that I disrespected you, Fred Claus. For some reason I thought, doesn't Fred Claus seem like a Tim Allen movie?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. This is the greatest movie of all time. And he's the greatest actor of all time. Oof. Jungle to Jungle looks kind of racist. So I'm gonna go away from that page. It looks like it like appropriates like native culture.
Oh my gosh. I haven't. That's so bad. I probably shouldn't talk about it because I literally haven't watched it since I like before I turned 10.
I'm sure there was so much media that we consumed as children that it's just like
that is
terribly offensive. Yeah. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. I mean, there's still sport. There's still an NFL team called the Redskins. So
yeah,
I mean, if that can be nationally accepted, then imagine what we experience.
I've told so many people though about this movie saying it's good because all the memories I have like at my grandparents' house, they lived in Seattle, Washington, and I just like had so much fun there. So I'm telling all these people, yeah, watch Jungle to Jungle.
Check out Jungle to Jungle.
They sit down with their family and they're like, oh my gosh. She's crazy. Don't talk to her again.
Yeah, jeez. Like if you grew up grandparents showing you like Song of the South or something. Oh, yeah, watch this movie, guys.
Oh man.
No, they're both horrible. Don't. Those
yeah, nobody watched that. I didn't recommend those.
Never see them, but they're bad and offensive. We better ask some deep questions other than talking about racist movies and reincarnation before we. I don't know why I said it like that. It was weird. Before we end this, what do you think about? We're talking about finales, talking about endings of like big life moments. Do you think they're more? Do you see them and perceive them as more of a positive or more of a negative?
It's both. Like if you have a finale,
what is it more of?
Maybe sad. Like for bigger life events, I think it's sad to have a finale. It's never like you feel accomplished when you do something, but you're never like, woo, like I'm done. Like I can just hang out now. Like even if you just finish like something silly, like I've been coloring a lot in quarantine. I'll finish this picture that I've been working on for however, like 3 days. And then I'm like, well, do I just start another one? Like I don't feel like accomplished enough to just be like, let me show this to the world. This is my art. I colored all this in. And now I should just start another and like keep creating these beautiful masterpieces. I don't know. I think they're more sad.
So the biggest life event in your recent memory has been coloring pictures?
No, my biggest life events are like sad things. Like I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but when a family member like their life ends, that's like their finale. And I don't want finale to have like a positive connotation because that's not a positive thing. So those things are always sad and it's always hard. And it's almost like a finale that doesn't stop. Like you think about it a lot and it changes the way you think and the way your family interacts, and it's crazy. It's an ongoing finale.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think that's definitely a type of finale and probably on the negative spectrum because that is, I mean, that's like, yeah, when you think about death and loss, like that is that's a interesting perspective of being that ongoing finale. I think a lot of times you can think of that as just like it happened and now we move on, but can you really like move on from like a tragedy like that, you know?
No,
but
I don't think that's how it works. I think a lot of people think like once something's done, it's done. And that's not how it is in so many different ways. I mean, like we talk about being done with school, but we think we're not done with school and we think about it constantly. And it's just like an ongoing thing of being ready for the next thing and making sure throughout the summer that you're going to be ready in the fall. And with like being involved with the newspaper, we want to be ready for that welcome week and we want to like be prepping all this stuff. And then it never ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're in a stage of life. I think after like you reach a certain age where you reach a certain like level of like achievement and ability and like you're doing stuff, you kind of lose that feeling of like something is truly like done. if you look at finales, it's just more of like a everyday life thing. Like, oh, I got done with a job, or I got done with like this semester of school or something. Like there are like hard endings, but I don't really think you got to work hard to get that like that relief that we were kind of talking about earlier in the podcast of like, oh, I'm done with like this semester of school, but now I have this new thing. And I think that's a positive to finales too. I think like right now we're ending this semester of school and we're ending like this podcast for a season, and I'm ending this podcast for 6 months. And that's like really sad because I've loved this podcast and I've seen it through since day one. And like with Callie, like I created this thing and I've seen how much people have enjoyed it and how much it's brought joy to my life. And now it's coming to an end, but I get this new thing, this new experience where I get to go out to Oregon and just like slow down and like really focus and really push myself like academically and in thinking and in my writing for like 6 months and do this thing that I have never had the opportunity to, and I probably will never have an opportunity like this again. But it's cheesy to say like with every ending comes a new beginning. Yeah. But like, I don't know, like cliches are rooted in truth, So that is, that's what's happening. It's sad that I'm heading out, but I get this new cool thing,
Yeah.
And maybe it's sad that I'll sell my comforter or give my comforter away, but then I get a duvet, right?
Yeah.
No,
there's better things to come.
That's how life rolls.
That's how life is.
You still. Oh! Wow. Well, that's probably how we should end the segment, right?
Yeah.
That's how life is. Gosh, there it is. Well, thanks, everybody. Yeah. I don't like it. Thanks, everybody, for listening through. This is like episode 32 or something of this thing that I just had an idea of with Callie like way back. And we've had a lot of fun. And I think we've told some important stories and we've made a bunch of weird jokes. And I've been like interested in doing this for a long time. And I'm really glad that all of you guys gave me the opportunity to do that. Everybody like here in this Hangouts and all the listeners. I don't know. It was really cool I've always been a theater guy and I've loved talking, and to be able to kind of merge that with like my love of storytelling and writing and all of that. It's been really fun. So I'm excited to see where it goes and see what happens without me, but I'm really excited to come back. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me for a while.
You've been listening to the season finale of Life Is, a podcast from The Clarion, Bethel University's national award-winning student publication. We'd like to thank our producer, Sam Mulberry, and new co-host, Scrabble the Squirrel.
The Clarion will still publish stories through the summer thanks to Will Jaycott and Molly Korzanowski, so keep an eye out for more quality content.
Please tell the people in your life about Life Is, which will continue into the summer with new co-host Will Jaycott.
Because ultimately, life is people. So tell the bug that you are reincarnated as.
And tell your local duvet salesman.
And tell your clan in Clash Royale.
And tell our boys who are bringing home the oil.